Welcome back to my channel, you guys. So today's video is an update on the year. So basically what we're going to be doing is going through my vision board and seeing what's come true, what I'm closest to, like what goals did I accomplish. So let's get into it. So first is punctuality, and some of these are not in a particular order, so just kind of ride along with me here. Punctuality is something that I have been slacking with for years. I don't know why I struggle with it. I think it's kind of a two-part thing, that I'm a night, oh my gosh, look at the makeup I have on my hand. I'm a night owl naturally, so then I have a hard time getting to sleep earlier, waking up early, and then thus creates an issue in the morning when I need to get to work and do things that are early in the morning. So I feel like over time I've gotten better, but I still have room for improvement. I wouldn't say I'm 100% on that. So that is still an ongoing process. Next is water. Water, I feel like I did a really good job with this year actually, because I made sure to carry my water bottle everywhere I went. If I was going to go out somewhere, making sure I brought a bottle with me. That way I just was prepared at all times, because you never know when you're like, I just need a drink of water or something, or I just need a drink in general, and then you're more tempted to go get like a coffee or something like that. But if I have the water on me, I can kind of, you know, fake it, you know, just drink some water instead, because maybe that's what I really need and I'm just thinking I need a coffee, or I'm thinking I need some kind of other drink. So I feel like I did a lot better on that this year, and I still can do better. Right now I have a 64-ounce bottle of water that I usually finish per day, but it would be nice to like up it just a little bit, because I think I'm supposed to be drinking maybe 100 something ounces. So yeah, so I could still have room for improvement on that, but making sure that, you know, I at least get my bottle in plus. So there's that. And then I'm looking down, by the way, just in case you're wondering, because I have my list of the things that my vision board had on it. So exercise is one that I really did terrible with, and I feel like it's just hard to start. Like, I did exercise a few times, but generally I didn't want to. I mean, it's something I don't really want to do, but I need to do for my health, and so that I have like better bones and stuff. Sorry about the glare on my glasses. But I'm just not very good at it, and I need to continue to improve. I think this year, instead of saying 3, because I feel like even though 3 is not many times per week to exercise, I feel like maybe I should start with a really small goal and then try to work my way up, just because of the fact that I'm not exercising at all except like walking around at work. So I feel like if I do it at least 1 to 2 times a week, that's kind of more attainable. I don't know. I mean, it might be the same situation where I just don't want to do it and I'm going to fight it no matter what. But at least if I have like a small goal and I'm attaining that goal, then I can feel like, okay, yeah, I can do another day a week, you know? So kind of add to it from there. Anyway, so that's still ongoing. Fruits and veggies, and some of this stuff is like things you should be doing anyway, but it's like I wanted to make sure that I made a point to put them on my vision board, because I wanted the visual representation. Or remember, you said you were going to try to do this to be healthier. So fruits and veggies I have been doing better with. I'm not perfect still. Like, I still sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, I should have a vegetable, but it's just a lifetime of habits of not having them. And I mean, like when I was a kid, we would have like a vegetable as a side or a salad as a side. So it's not like we didn't eat vegetables, but it was always like a side. It was always a side thought. You know, it's like you would have like a meat, a potato, and like a small portion of vegetable. Here's some green beans, like a scoop, you know. But in reality, like after doing some, you know, not online research, I shouldn't say that, but like I took a diabetic class and they were like, really, half your plate should be vegetables. And I was like, oh, so like the other stuff should make up half, and this should make up a whole half by itself. So, you know, I gotta really work on that, like upping that amount. Plus, if you think about it, that makes you more full too by eating a large portion of vegetables. So, and it's lower calories. So a lot of like positive benefits, plus the nutritional value is better. So that's something I'm still working on. One of my main things that I've been really dying for lately, and it's kind of weird, like I haven't been eating as much sweets this year. Like I mean, I still eat sweets, I'm not gonna lie, but I mean, I don't crave them quite as much. Fruit lately, some specific fruits, in fact, like grapes. I don't know what it is. I started eating like red seedless grapes and I'm like addicted to them. Like I can just eat so many of them. So I'm like, okay, if I want a snack, go get a bowl of grapes, you know? So I'm just trying to like switch things over, like, oh, you know, you want something sweet, go get a bowl of grapes, or you want something sweet, go get an apple. So I'm trying to implement fruit that way, but not, obviously you don't want to eat too much fruit because of like the diabetic thing. You don't want to get your blood sugar too high, but at the same time it's still healthier and still less general sugar, and you know, better for you because you're getting at least some vitamins out of it versus like candy. So that's what we're still working on. And then sleep I've gotten better about and then got worse again about. So this is kind of like my whole life struggle. I've been better at, like, I would say that probably the first half of the year I was really good about going to sleep earlier and saying like, you know what, I need to go to bed earlier. I can't just stay up all night because that just does not work with me having to wake up early in the morning. So I was getting better. Thus me waking up to go to work got better. Like obviously they're, you know, connected. But what ended up happening? I started slacking again because I'm like, oh, well, I can stay up till like this time. It won't be a big deal, you know, and the next thing you know, then the next day you're exhausted, and then it's a pattern because your body gets used to staying up late again, and then you have to restart the whole cycle again. So I need to get back on that. So I'm trying, at least this weekend, like I know I stayed up late at least 2 times. So I'm trying to fix that right now. So I'm back. Sorry. I had to stop recording because my husband came in the house with a freaking Bluetooth speaker on his shoulder, like old school 90s bumping music. And I'm like, I'm recording in here. Like, no one can hear me now, and I'll probably have copyright music in my background. So thanks a lot. Anyway, hopefully I got to cut it off in time or I can edit it out either way. Okay, so yeah, so back to sleeping. So again, got better, then got worse. So back on the uptick again. Next, this one is kind of funny because at the beginning of the year I said I want to save money and I want to eat at home more and eat out less, and then that way I'm cooking more meals and I feel like I know what's going in them. So it's a little bit better of a control thing, plus it's better for weight loss, right? So I had this plan at the beginning of the year, and it's really cute how life works out because I had said that. And I mean, I'm sure I would have been better than I was the year before, but it's kind of like life really wanted that to happen because we proceeded to go into quarantine. So naturally I didn't go anywhere. So you can't go on trips, you can't do anything. So I'm like, okay, cool. I mean, still some of the restaurants were actually still open and they're still open for takeout, and I'm not saying I've never gone to restaurants since, but at the same time I was just like, it's just sometimes just not worth the effort anymore. And now I'm kind of in a pattern of like, I'm making my own food and I have food at home. Like there's no point in me going out, like unless I'm craving something that I really don't know how to make. Like I'm not good at making Chinese food, obviously, but you know, that's something I really crave sometimes. So like that, I'll be like, okay, I'll reserve my going out for that because that's something I don't know how to cook and I really want it. Or it's hard to get the ingredients to cook it. But like other stuff, I love Mexican food, one of my favorite foods of all time. Like for the most part, kind of simple to make for my end of it. Like I'm pretty easy to please. I don't have to be fancy, you know? But at the same time, I was like, I think I can make that kind of stuff at home, like without too much hassle. So I mean, that's what I've been doing. Like even, you know, gyros, you know, Greek food, pretty easy to make. I mean, it's not, maybe not perfect. It's not as restaurant quality, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, I know what's going in it. It's cheaper to make. And on top of that, I don't have to leave my home. I feel like back in the day when you would go out, or like you would go out for a special occasion, you just didn't go out every day just to go out, you know? And I feel like that kind of before COVID was kind of happening where like you could go out every day and it wouldn't be a big deal. But then later you're like, yeah, it's not special anymore. It's just kind of, I'm just doing a chore. You know what I mean? You're just getting food and you're just trying to feed yourself. But the amount of effort you put in, like going through a drive-through or going to order it and then going to pick it up and all that stuff, it's just a lot more effort. And it doesn't make sense to do that all the time. So I have dramatically decreased the amount of eating out, and cooking at home has increased substantially, to the point where I'm even thinking about getting a stand mixer to make my own bread. So like, I'm like, man, I should just really crack down and start making more food at home and like learn how to make things that I've never made before. So that is probably going to continue into the next year too, because I'm kind of liking this path I'm on, especially making my own lunch for work. That has been, because at work, right, we can't eat in the break room, and it's a hassle to go out, as I said. So at this point, I'm just making my own lunch and then bringing it, and I sit in my car and eat. But I'm like, wow, like the amount of time I save by just having my food pre-made, eating in the car, you know, and the weight has been going down, which is my next point. My weight has been improving. Surprise. I mean, imagine that, when you don't eat out as much and you eat at home more. Miraculous. So let me see, where did I leave off on that? Oh yeah. I had to look at my notes, sorry. But yeah, my weight. So let's cover the full spectrum. So I feel like we should be honest. So my weight has been slowly decreasing. I think only now have I started realizing it's been getting better. Like I can kind of see it more. I'll post some before and after pictures here. My friend's wedding is probably the worst I was. I would say, I think that was the peak time of how big I was. And I felt completely miserable, but at the time it's kind of like it just sneaks up on you and you don't really notice that you're getting that big. I mean, I guess you notice to an extent, like your clothes are tighter and you don't feel comfortable and you don't feel healthy. Like you get that part of it, but it kind of sneaks up on you. It's like, oh, who's that in the mirror? Like, where did you come from? And it's you. So, you know, that kind of happens to you. So that sucked. So that was my peak weight, like the highest I've ever been, completely miserable, which sucks because it's like, that was supposed to be a really fun trip, and to an extent it was. But I feel like I couldn't have as much fun because I was miserable, you know, like because I just didn't feel comfortable in my body. I felt really big. I just was out of breath all the time. It just sucked. Like, and plus you're in Vegas, which is hot and you have to walk a lot. And if you're super out of shape, it's not a good time. You're not having fun. So that blew. Like, to be honest, it was really sucky for that part. But it was a wake-up call because I'm like, I don't want to come back and do this again. Like, I don't want to be miserable on another trip. I don't want to be like this, you know? And I've always been really big. So I mean, it's not like the weight I'm at now is not like skinny for me by any means. It's still big, but at the same time, it's kind of like a big I can tolerate and I would like to not tolerate, but it's at least manageable. I can walk and not be like breathing heavily, and I don't struggle, you know what I mean? So I still want to lose weight. Don't get me wrong. This is not skinny by any means, but at least it's going in the direction. It's at least at a starting point where I could do something, you know? So that's, you know, where we're at. So let's go back. So that was 2019 May when her wedding was. And so at that point, I was at least 39 pounds heavier than I'd ever been before, which is saying something. That's a lot. So, let's see. So now I am 56 pounds less than that. So I would say I only lost like in 2019, between 2019, yeah, I would say maybe like 20 pounds, which is still a lot. Cause I mean, if you think about it, that's like a lot of, well, it's still weight. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a whole lot considering how big I was, but it made a difference is my point. So I had already gotten like down that far. And then this year, by just the fact that we weren't able to do anything really except cook our own food and that sort of thing. And I also have been eating a little bit smaller portions, I've noticed has helped too, which I didn't really think I ever ate that much, but it's kind of a long story, but I've had a lot of like stomach problems, and I noticed that I wasn't able to eat very much in general, and I kind of felt nauseous more often, which is not a good way to lose weight. Don't recommend. But now that that's kind of subsided, I noticed that I can't eat as much, so I'm not sure if it's kind of a weird side effect. Not sure, but I'm still here for it because it makes me feel like, okay, cool, then I don't feel hungry, because I feel like that was the problem before, is I would eat and I would still feel hungry, or I would get a bigger portion because I knew I would be hungry with a smaller portion. But now I feel like, oh, okay, I can have like a reasonable amount of food, or even a little bit less food than average, and still be good. So I feel like that's kind of a natural thing that's happened. Plus also trying to implement more fruits and vegetables, eat out less. So a lot of different like little steps. But at the same time, right now I'm at a weight that is like my weight I've been for many years. So nothing that's, you know, abnormally skinny or anything like that. But I feel like at least I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, this is like my normal baseline. Let's go from here. You know, like let's implement exercise. Let's fine-tune the skills more, not just, you know, kind of do the minimum and get some results. So anyway, like I said, I'm down 56. So I would say at least 36 of that would have been this year alone. Just, you know, which if you think about over a whole year is not a ton of weight, but at the same time, I'm grateful it's gone. I don't care. I'm happy it's gone. Like at this point I will take whatever happens, you know? But I feel like I could always improve like everybody else. I feel like that's something we can work on. And that's why basically my whole like life motto at this point is progress, not perfection, because I'm like, it's going in the right direction. It's not perfect, but let's keep going. Cooking. Okay. Oh yeah. Cooking at home. That was on there. We already covered that. Cleaning. I feel like I've been doing better about cleaning. There's some areas in my house that are always janky, like always. Like I would say the kitchen bar area, always terrible. I will clean it and like I feel like I blink and it's back to being a pit of just despair. I'm not sure why. I haven't figured that out. But toward the end of the year, I would say I've got even better because I did a deep clean of my bedroom and my closet, which you haven't seen yet, but I'm posting a video, I promise. But so I went and did a deep clean of all that. And then when I did that, I was like, wow, like I want to maintain this. This feels good, you know, or like making my bed makes me feel better. And I always thought that was crazy because I'm like, there's no point of making your bed. You're just going to get back in it. It seems stupid. But at the same time, like every day I've been like making my bed and I made it really cozy. And I'm like, wow, it's like these little things that aren't hard to do and they're just basic maintenance things, but it just makes your life generally easier and more comfy. So like just really harping on the fact of like, okay, I'm getting up to go to the bathroom, for example, off the couch. What can I do to help myself? You know what I mean? Like, okay, here's a glass, put in the sink. Here's, you know, some paper towels or like some, you know, something trash. Okay, pick that up and throw in the trash can. Like just making sure that I'm more cognizant of, okay, I'm actively getting up right now. I might as well do this while I'm up, or I might as well put this away while I'm up. Oh, I'm already cooking. Let's just put this thing away, you know? So, which is very simple things, but when you're not doing it before, it's kind of a new thing. But I feel like it's been going a lot better. So I still have room to improve. Like I still have a habit of like bringing stuff up in this bedroom and dropping it off and be like, it's just for upstairs. I'll deal with it another day. But then I'm at the same time, I'm like, wow, if I would have just put those things away, I mean, how long would that have taken? And then it would be clean again. You know, doesn't make any sense. And next, drama-free. I think I stayed pretty drama-free for the most part. There were some interesting aspects of this year that I don't want to get into, but for the most part, I feel like I try to stay out of everybody's way. I'm just doing my own thing and just, I mean, this is mostly a work thing and home thing too, I guess, but I just try to stay out of everyone else's way and just do my own thing and stay minding my own business. So I feel like that helped tremendously. Let's see, meditation. I feel like that one I did a little bit, but I didn't do quite as much as I would like to. But I did notice that if I am working on paperwork sort of things at work, it's something I need to concentrate, or which could very well be related to like a meditative sort of state, or if I'm eating my lunch and then I just want to go in my car and just like close my eyes, then I'll play like some calming music. And I feel like that's really helped me just de-stress just from normal stress during the day. So as opposed to like going on social media or doing something like that I would normally do on my lunch. So I feel like that's really helped. So I could say I kind of got involved in that. I haven't full-blown sat down and did an actual meditation, but I feel like I'm getting in the right direction, at least, where I have a little bit of just quiet time and just focus on my breathing and listen to some calming music and just be chill. I feel like that's really helped me out quite a bit this year. So budget, you know, the budget I haven't really been focused on super hard. I mean, I know that we've saved money by not going out and we haven't been able to travel and natural things that kind of happen this year without you really trying for. But as far as like being really strict on it, I really didn't. I did try to decrease some of my bills this year, like go around and see what I could decrease, just because of the fact at the beginning of the year, like right at the beginning of the year, George was unemployed. So I was like, okay, what can I cut back on to make our bills situation a little bit easier? So I've been doing that sort of thing, like seeing if I could readjust Comcast. So maybe we have the same amount of coverage, but maybe a cheaper plan, even if it's a short-term situation, but whatever would work out better long-term, or seeing if I can get the car insurance lower. So I've been kind of working on those type of things, and I have got our bills lower. Like our phone bill, I think we were paying $160, I believe. No, we were up almost up to $200, and that's with paying one phone too. And I'm like, there's gotta be a cheaper way. Like, I don't understand why I'm paying so much. And when I went back and I looked at our plan, I was able to bring it down to like $120. So I'm like, why was I paying all this extra money this whole time? And it wasn't a contract, it wasn't a special deal, nothing. It's just when you're on this plan for a long period of time and you don't really check into it, or, you know, what have you, there's new plans that come out with like the same amount of coverage, maybe even a better plan, and you could save money. So that ended up happening. And so like, let's say George's phone, I paid that off, but it was $30. So we had brought it down to $150 alone with just that one step of changing the plan from $200. So $50 automatically. And then I paid off the phone. So then it brought it down to $120, and I'm like, wow, that's a way better bill. So I feel like we had a lot more random bills come up. Like, we are continuing to have random bills come up into the new year now. Just miscellaneous things. Like, you know, my husband had his wisdom teeth pulled out. He doesn't have dental insurance because he's unemployed. So that's a fun expense. Expense too. My cat had a bunch of medical issues, and my cat doesn't have cat insurance. So, you know, those are all out of pocket. So it was like a lot of like miscellaneous things that you don't really anticipate happening that you're pulling out of savings for. So that's not great. Don't love that. But at the same time, I'm like, I want everybody to be in one piece and in good shape. So we have to make sacrifices sometimes for that reason, or even just me going to the doctor more too. So that leads me into my next point, because I skipped over this one. Baby. I don't have a baby still. I don't know if you didn't know. but I've been getting closer to this goal. Okay. So it's very slow going. Let's just say that. So basically I went and finally set up care with an OBGYN, finally, because my so I actually had one. Let's just back up a little bit. I had one, and then she left where I was. So then I was kind of in a standstill, and I was in a loop where I could go back to that same clinic. But at the same time, I was like, it doesn't make sense to go to that same clinic because I'm going to another clinic for my internal medicine, like my normal health. So why don't I just go to that clinic for OBGYN? So then I had to set up care with a new lady. Really nice, really like her. So first thing was just tracking things, because I wasn't actually, I was tracking things on my phone, but I wasn't like actually doing the ovulation testing. So I was doing that for like about a month or so. And then I did a blood work, which found out I was not ovulating. So that's some of the reason why I'm not getting pregnant, I guess. Fun fact. So basically my progesterone's basically nothing. Like, I just don't have any. So you're like, well, what do you do now? Like, what do you do if you're not ovulating? So basically I was referred over to Oregon Reproductive Medicine. So I'll need to follow up with them, but I haven't done it exactly yet, just because of the new year and like the holidays and everything. So I have to fill out some paperwork and then get an appointment with them. So my husband and I have to go together. And then at that point, we just basically do, I think, a little bit more testing. I've actually had personally a lot of testing done, and most of the things have been normal except the progesterone issue. So the hormone issue is pretty much the primary reason of, as far as I know. I'm not sure what could be going on with him, but as far as what I know personally with me, that's the issue. So we have to, I think there's a specialty medicine, or it sounds like, that I need to take, but it can only be prescribed by like a specialist. So that's why I have to go there for that. So, and then you'll have more resources there. They do IVF and other things. So if it came to that, then that would be who I would be seeing for that. So that's why I'm going there. But I haven't got that done yet. I'm still in the process of just getting the paperwork filled out. I wanted to get like the cat figured out. which sounds weird, but he's more struggling than I am. So I wanted to get him figured out and then go and like do the research on the other stuff. So I'm hoping this year will be the year, because if I'm getting that figured out, then I'm pretty hopeful, because at least we know what the problem is. And then I'll have my husband tested, just make sure there's nothing wrong with him. And then there's nothing else we need to contend with. But then at that point, we should be all good to go, because at least we'll be able to figure out what the problem is that we need to fix, which is doing a lot more than we've done in the past, which is nothing. So I feel like, again, we're on a progressing streak. I'm looking at my list. Oh, YouTube, that was another thing. This year I actually had a pretty good year, considering that I feel like I wasn't doing as much as I wanted. I feel like that's every year. Like, I feel like I'm not, some months I miss content and things like that. I'm like, oh crap, I missed a whole month. That's like 4 videos that I missed. I'm like, crap, I really need to get on board. So I want to get more of a schedule going on. I feel like that's some of the issue. And I have tons of ideas. Like, I have tons of ideas written down, and then I just don't implement them. But I did grow on my channel, like a very small amount, but I grew. So in November, I had to go back and look at this to figure it out. So in November, I had 63 subscribers. Now I have 117 as of today. So we're going in the right direction, you guys. And if you're watching my video, subscribe if you haven't already, because that really helps me out and helps my channel grow. Or even just liking a video or commenting or anything. Those all help my video. So if you could do that, that would be amazing. So that, I think, wraps up the year. Like, as far as what has been going on, I'm going to be coming out with an updated video. So 2021's vision board. Can you believe that we're saying that? 2021. A new vision board. Some of this will be a recurring theme, because I feel like, but I don't know. I think this next year's, I'm going to call it self-care. I feel like that's what we're going to call it, because I feel like we kind of started self-care in 2020. But I feel like we need to continue that path, but maybe enhance it a little bit more. So let's go into that next. So that's going to be next week's video, is updating the vision board for the new year and what our new goals are. All right, and I hope you are inspired to maybe make a vision board of your own. And then that way you can have your goals written out and a visual of them. And maybe that way you can get your goals achieved too. All right, well, thanks for watching. Bye.